Yesterday, I did a video about what happens if you're carving your pumpkin and then something tragic happens to your finger like this, okay? That's what I did it about. This is fake. It's fake, everybody. It's just fake. So I talked about how to wrap it, that you wrap it in a damp paper towel, that you wrap it in get this wet, roll it up in here. Don't put it in ice, don't put it in milk, don't put it in water. Just put it in a damp cloth and be on your way to the ER. Preferably, you're going to call 911 or you're going to have a friend with you. But that's what you do if something big like that happens where the tip comes off, the cut occurs down low. And the reason I brought this up is there's just a lot of surgeries that are going on from those wonderful hand specialists, hand surgeons, for cuts that occur when people are using the knives and carving their pumpkins. So when I talked yesterday, I talked about using these tools, that they are a bit safer and that it should be adults who do the cutting. But somebody had brought to my attention that I didn't discuss other than down in the information area. I didn't talk about what do you do when this is bleeding. So I wanted to address that, and then I wanted to talk about some general first aid that everybody can use. Okay, so if this has happened, your finger gets cut, the tip gets cut, you're going to transfer this with you to the emergency room with somebody, or you're going to call 911 after you wrap it in something damp. The next thing has to do with pressure. Now, when you have a cut, you're going to apply gentle pressure, but when you have something that has been severed off, you're going to be applying a lot of pressure. Now, I don't want to say extreme. I don't want to say tourniquet. I'm just saying apply pressure. Really apply that pressure. Kind of like when you have a nosebleed. You don't just slightly pinch it. You really pinch things hard up here. So you're going to apply pressure on your hand. Again, hopefully you have somebody with you. And you're going to transport. You're going to the hospital now. You're going to the emergency room. Let's move on to just some general cuts. So if you're cooking, you're working in the yard, something has happened where on your hands, on your arm, somewhere on your body, you have a cut. You're going to clean that cut, preferably with soap and water. But if you just clean it with water, rinse it really, really well, that would be good. That's okay to just use water. But the next thing that I have learned about recently is a product called Active Skin Repair. And I got mine off Amazon. There are a couple different types. I happen to have the antimicrobial hydrogel. And this is what it looks like. The reason why I love this is it's used in hospitals now. It's used in some clinics now. It is considered medical grade skin and wound repair. Sting-free, supports the body's natural healing process. And I'm going to go over this real quick with you. Use this for minor cuts, scrapes, rashes, insect bites, burns, sunburns, and other minor skin irritations. It was a physician who told me about this, and this is an amazing product. Here's what not to use on your open wounds, cuts, severed finger, severed fingertip. Do not pour over rubbing alcohol. Don't apply hydrogen peroxide. If you have a cut that you're applying gentle pressure to and you've cleaned it, you're going to then, if you have this product, you're going to use this. You're going to then put a Band-Aid on it. But if you have applied gentle pressure and it continues to bleed, or it swells up and you're not able to bend your finger, or it turns purple or red, those are indications where you need to go into the ER. I think I'll do a whole video on burns, but in a nutshell, you have to determine the type of burn. If it's we don't really call them first, second, third degree burns. But anyway, if your burn is severe enough that you've got some blisters forming, don't pop the blisters. It's okay to run, if you've burned any part of your hands or your fingers, run it under cool water. I know recently I had a second degree burn. I forgot that a pan that I normally use on top of the stove was in the oven, came out of the oven, and I went over to pick it up. and I had blisters through here and all down my palm, and it's exquisitely painful. You know, burns are really, really painful. Nothing seemed to help all the way up until I finally fell asleep, but that was after hours of keeping an ice pack on. I put a cloth down and then I put an ice pack on top of it, because the minute that the coolness was taken off my burn, the throbbing began again. But just don't pop those. And lastly, please, folks, don't use Neosporin unless your provider has told you to. Neosporin causes allergic reactions in a lot of people and causes further problems. So again, just wait until your provider tells you to use a certain kind of soap if you go in for these injuries, if they're severe enough, or your provider has cleared you to use Neosporin on top of your cuts and injuries. Don't use it otherwise. I really hope this was helpful. When it comes to an EpiPen, when in doubt, if somebody's allergic to peanuts and they ate a cookie, for example, and they say, I'm starting to feel kind of funny, I've got itching in my throat, itching in my tongue, my mouth feels funny, swelling, swollen eyes, turning red. If they say that they're experiencing this, or you see that they're experiencing this and you know they have an EpiPen or they pull their EpiPen out, it's better to use it and then not use it. So use it and then go to the ER. Because if you think, I'm not really positive if I got in touch with an allergen or not, better to be safe than sorry. But remember, if you use the EpiPen, help somebody use it, you give it to your child, your loved one, they use it, they need to go to the ER. One big mistake about EpiPens, and you've probably seen this because it's going around an awful lot, is people are pushing down. You're putting it in the thigh, they're pushing down, and it's the wrong end. Okay, so then they're getting the needle in their own thumb. Blue to the sky, yellow to the thigh. When in doubt, give the EpiPen. If someone has gone down and they are not breathing, you can do just chest compressions. Have any of you ever heard of Dr. Mike? There are a couple Dr. Mikes. I'm not talking about the one with the big muscles. Okay, I'm talking, well, the other Dr. Mike has good muscles too. But anyway, I will list him. But Dr. Mike has millions of followers. He's a practicing family practice physician, and he always talks about chest compressions, chest compressions, chest compressions. You do not have to breathe into that person's mouth who goes down, but please do chest compressions. Remember to interlock and do it quickly, okay? Don't bend your elbows. You're going to do it forcefully and quickly. I realize it can be kind of traumatic to feel maybe ribs cracking or something moving. They will survive that, but they won't survive if their heart does not have a beat to it, where oxygen and blood is circulating. If these tips are helpful, if you like medical tips, if you like things about medical mishaps or myths and facts about medicine, please consider subscribing and please hit the like button. It really, really helps the channel.